Hospital Porter's pride and dignity, stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV. I'm at Blenheim Palace still. This is Ben the JR Porter here, and I am now going to show you that big column that we looked at just now down near the palace. Here it is. This is the column of victory, or I've forgotten what it's called exactly, that was put up when the first Duke basically took possession of his title. And as I said earlier, it was a completely artificial title created, given to an ordinary layman who happened to be an army general, to thank him for serving his country in the Spanish Wars of Succession, and especially the victory at the Battle of Blenheim in 1705. Now, as you can see, it's neoclassical in nature. Now, this figure on top is actually the Duke himself, Duke John Churchill, 1st Duke of Marlborough. Now, Bardo's had a good look. Now, my eyes aren't sharp enough, but it looks like he's in costume. Can you see there? If I can hold the camera steady enough, I haven't got my tripod. It looks like he's in a kind of Roman costume. Bardo tells me he's holding some kind of torch, like a flame. He's got the baton in the left hand, and he's got a lion on his chest. Lions are symbols I see repeated again and again around aristocratic buildings, like it was at Buckingham Palace, where I was last week, if you saw that video. It's the last one I did. I'm going to move in a bit closer now, and you'll see that this column it's neoclassical in nature again, with the sort of the square pillar, the round marbled sort of round like the marble columns in ancient Greece. Now at the base of the pillar is a very, very long inscription which I have read. I'm not going to recite it to you, but it's basically all about the Duke of Marlborough when he was a general. It's basically about the various victories he had over his enemies. In other words, it's beating other people by force. And for some reason we're obsessed with this. I mean, I think this is the Illuminati trait. It's the way the Illuminati have engineered us. We're obsessed with this kind of having power over others by force, beating them in military combat, watching their humiliation, and this is seen as something glorious and something powerful and strong. In fact, I don't believe it is. I think it's something artificial. It's an absolutely huge monstrosity here, and it's very phallic. Some big dick sticking out of the hillside, which again is all part of that. There's actually a lot of virility in the building itself, and if I turn around here you can see the palace itself here. I'll just zoom in a bit. Again, I've continued this long line from the palace up to the column, which I showed you earlier. It's all lined up. Everything is in a line, as in a temple, like Washington DC, as in London, as in Paris, as in Masonic temples. The palace even has the twin pillars at the front of Joachim and Boaz, which you find in Masonic temples. I'm just going to have a look around. You can see that this inscription is in very, very small. It's very small writing here. Now, if you've got an hour and a half spare and you're a bit bored, you can come and read it all. It basically says, "I'm John Churchill. I'm a better soldier than anyone else, and I beat them and humiliated them, and you know." And I mean, this obsession with Churchill's victories was very, very obvious when I actually went round on the guided tour just now. There's the state apartments, actually, which are open to the public, have these famous 8 tapestries called the Blenheim tapestries, which took it took 10 years. It took 80 seamstresses 10 years to make them all, and they show the scenes from the various battles that Sir Churchill won, and it shows the Duke actually holding out his baton, which is a symbol of victory, towards the enemy French and Spanish and various other generals, and they were doffing their hats, in other words taking their hats off and submitting themselves to his power. Glory be to my power. Very Illuminati, very reptilian, I must say. As I said before, there are family links between him and Churchill. Diana Spencer was part of this family bloodline as well, who was murdered ritually in Paris in 1998. As I was explaining earlier before, King William and the House of Orange, the connection there, the connection between the House of Orange connection. The House of Orange didn't last long in England. King William was soon succeeded. I don't think he had any heirs, or his heirs didn't last long. But the House of Orange is still in power in the Netherlands, and I was telling you about Queen Beatrix being a member of the Bilderberg Group. Apart from the symbolism in this tower, for instance, this column is exactly twice the height of the ceiling in the Great Hall in the palace. There's more symbolism here. If I come around this side, you can see what we have here is a very, very long avenue of trees. And these trees actually stretch for several miles. It's a huge avenue. There used to be elms, but the elms were all killed by the Dutch elm disease in the 70s, so now they've been replanted as other trees. But I mean, they were only little saplings when I first came here as a kid, but they're getting bigger and bigger now. And this stretches several miles across the Oxfordshire countryside. It comes to the most amazing place, which again is a connection. I was telling you about how Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands is in the Bilderberg Group in the Club of Rome. Well, the steering committee for the Bilderberg Group meets at a very, very sinister location not far from the end of this avenue. It's called Ditchley Park, and it goes under the cover, it goes under the aegis of an official organisation, the Ditchley Foundation, of which Shami Chakrabarti is a member, as Bardo pointed out to me, which seems strange, seeing she's supposed to be a libertarian lawyer, head of the Liberty law firm. Controlled opposition, if I've ever seen it. So that's another thing that's very suspicious. Let's go and have a look what's on here. Oh, here's more of the inscription. You're not going to believe this, but this inscription goes all the way around this bloody pillar. All four faces of this pillar base are covered in this damn inscription. And they've got a big fence around it, as if they think someone's going to do some damage to it, as if that could ever happen. Why would anyone want to damage the gloating of an Illuminati puppet in his wars? As you see, this is more this obsession with victory. Now, these are people who consider themselves civilized, masters of the world, the great Western civilization, the white man. And, of course, as I've explained, and as you probably know if you're familiar with my work and the work of others, it's not the white man, it's not Europe, it's not the West, it is the Illuminati using this race and this culture as a tool. Now, Credo Mutwa, a great Zulu shaman, actually made this point. He said that Zulus were not savage, the Zulus were the civilized ones. Every Zulu warrior had to undergo a cleansing ritual every time he came back from battle, and he was not allowed to even look at his wife until then. He wasn't allowed to see her. Now, Lady Sarah Churchill, the wife of the first Duke, writes in her diaries that when she accompanied General Churchill on his campaigns, she used to wait in the tent for him, and he used to basically come in after battle and shag her. And she mentions once in a diary, he came in after fighting at Blenheim, dropped his trousers, shagged the arse off her, and he didn't even take his boots off. And his boots were covered in blood, and she said that the flesh of men and horses were trapped in the tread in the boot. Now, Credo says, what a horrible way to behave. How could he describes it as this man desecrated his wife. Okay, so who's the savage then? Who's the savage and who's the civilized man? I asked yourself that. Just goes to show, doesn't it? Just goes to show how different things are. All right, well, I think I've had enough of this as I need to now. I've shown you everything. I've shown you the palace. I've shown you the monument and the column, and I've shown you the avenue of trees leading to Ditchley Park. Which is not really a ritual centre, but it's a major political centre. The Ditchley Foundation. Look it up. That's really it. Just bear in mind that these things have meaning. There's columns like this. This is not the only column in Britain. There are others. The Earl of Strathmore has one put up on his estate. This was a man responsible for Europe's biggest forgotten genocide, which is the Highland clearances. And the Scottish people have never forgotten this, and even in recent times that column has been vandalised. And I don't blame those people for vandalising. I can understand them perfectly. Although I'm not the kind of person who do that myself, but I can sympathise with them. It's all about power. It's about dominating Greeks. It's about the victory of Greeks over barbarians. That's basically what it's about. It's about showing we are the greatest. We have the power. We can beat you, savages. Helpless natives, you are in our power. And this is what these things are saying. And if you think it's childish, so do I. It's about time we grew up and we told these people we're not going to let them push us around anymore. That's it really. Thanks for watching HPANWO TV. There'll be more to come soon. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.